Hi, guys. Welcome back to another podcast. I'm Jeremy.
They're coming hot.
He came in.
Is that not how we do this?
Welcome to Four Guys with Glasses.
And pants.
And pants.
And nary a hair on our heads.
Anyway.
Take me away, 'cause I can be the link. Let somebody while letting go and I can have my way.
Guys, I'm excited to have another hour in the living room of the Acoustic Shop with you guys.
Is that true? Is that sarcasm?
It's a positive
Sarcasm?
affirmation. Like if you
changed
just
my
keep
words.
saying it over and over, you believe it.
Is that how it works?
You put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
What? You think
Dingleberry.
sarcasm is wrong?
Guys, I'm
Oh,
excited to spend the next
sorry to
hour
deal
with
with
you.
I'm too tired for this.
We are. We just got off a week of 100-degree temperatures in a tent,
Humid.
with a booth and humidity.
15-hour
and rain.
days.
Is it hot out here? Am I sweating?
9 o'clock in the morning, we opened that tent, and midnight to 12:30 was when we got to
It
get
was
out
fun.
of
It
there.
was
a
all
great
seeing all
time.
the kids playing music and
Yeah,
having
look
a
it
good
up.
time.
Starvey Creek Bluegrass Festivals. We're going to be there every July for eternity.
The new official
It's gonna get
host
hotter every year.
of the Starvey Creek Festival, the Acoustic Shop, every July.
Woodshop stage.
We're taking over the whole festival. It will
But that's
be
not what this is about, guys.
Shoot, I'm sorry. I
Look
got
it
off
up.
track.
You'll know what we're talking about. What we're really talking about, Jeremy, is
Your attitude.
you have a problem, Jeremy.
Yeah, do
We're
you?
here to talk to you about.
It's an anger
It's gotta
issue. I
stop.
know. I'm trying to get over it. That's why I started this by saying how much I'm looking forward to spending an hour with you guys.
I'm just saying this is a bit of
First
an
step is
intervention.
acknowledging I have a problem, and it's you guys. And then the next part is to apologize to everyone that's been affected.
You being in my life is hurting my
I
relationship.
apologize
with
that
you,
you guys
Jeremy, and
annoy me so much that I allow you guys to annoy
In my
me.
life has ruined my relationship with you.
what you're doing, i.e., being in my vicinity, is really hurting how I feel about you.
I can't believe
Except the things
we're
that
gonna
I do not
how
have
are we
power
gonna-
to control.
How can we solve this?
we're about to have somebody sit in with us in this living room
Yeah.
after this conversation right here. They're gonna feel
Who is that, John?
the
Who's gonna
angst.
Who's gonna distract me from how much I dislike you two? who's today's contestant?
Who do we know?
We're gonna see if he can do
Let's
it or
think,
not. It's a
let's
challenge.
think about this. Who do we know that plays guitar at a level beyond anybody we know?
Once had a long, flowing goatee.
Had an iconic look.
he still has an icon.
Changed
Yeah,
it a little bit, but he
shortened
still has
it
an
a bit.
iconic
Got his
look.
top hat still.
Plays a pre-war guitar from the pre-war guitar company.
Yeah.
Plays incredible melodies. Who do we know, John?
His name is none
Let's think
other
about who
than
should we have on
David Grier. That's who it is,
That's
Jay.
a good idea. I bet he can distract me from you guys.
the Acoustic Shop? You know what? The Acoustic Shop does know David Grier.
Yeah, and they're gonna know him a whole
We're
lot
about
more
to prove
here
it right now.
in about 10 seconds.
Welcome to the podcast, David Grier.
Yeah,
Why,
welcome.
It's good to be here.
It's good to know you.
Where's
The Acoustic
Very
Shop
nice
knows.
to have met you and
David Grier.
hung out with y'all too.
yeah?
I like the coziness of this.
Doesn't it like feel like somewhat a home?
We want to feel. We want you to
Exactly,
feel
somewhat
relaxed.
like a
Somewhat
home.
like a home with lots of lights and cameras and things all over the
We're
place.
approximating what a average American home would feel like. We just haven't experienced that.
The main goal is just get you relaxed, and then
Get
we
rid of
attack.
my paid advertising. Get rid of that logo out of there.
Oh, thank you, John, for interrupting.
That's wonderful. What is the first hard-hitting question you're going to hit David Grier with,
Could
John?
you please spell Grier for the folks at home?
Oh yeah, it's G.
Stay tuned for the rest. You gotta wait till the end of the podcast.
Oh man,
I
the anticipation is killing me.
E R.
Oh my God!
This is gonna be a long podcast. We're only gonna get two questions in. He's
That
getting
was
paid,
strong.
he's getting paid by the time, not the answer.
That was one of those stories that really had a didn't have a turn. Really, it was.
not have
It turned out the way I thought
Had
it
a
would.
beginning, a middle, and an end. Like all good stories.
Anyway,
Oh my goodness! If you were an inanimate object, What would you be, David?
I don't know. A fire truck.
Fire truck.
All right, let's get into the
Yeah,
podcast.
this is,
Ladies and gentlemen, we got the
All these inside
incomparable David Grier on the show, and we're very excited about
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
John should be the most excited because
I have been.
he's idolized David Grier for so many years.
It is
and
absolutely the truth.
He's a guitar player.
I tried to grow a beard like him once. It did not even.
We talked about this yesterday. Mine just stops at about 3 inches. Just quits growing.
But it's become an iconic look, and for an iconic guitar player. We kind of discussed some of this before, but for those who are just now getting to see, because this is a whole different broadcast, right?
Yeah.
We're now in a podcast format. David, why guitar?
Well,
Isn't that a great question? Why? Why are you even doing that?
my father played the banjo, and he bought a guitar for his brother, a classical style guitar, and his brother didn't want it, so he gave it to me when I was little, and I banged on it, and eventually he showed me chords, simple, most basic child chords, not full chords, just maybe 1 or 2 fingers. D was really hard because you had to use 3 fingers, and I was gonna get run over there from me. But and his thinking was, well, there's in the '60s, early '60s, there's wasn't much call for a banjo, unless it was bluegrass, old timer, maybe country, way in the background, musics. So he figured if I played guitar, I could do whatever I wanted. I could play rock, I could play classical, jazz, bluegrass, what have you. And he just saw it as being more universal.
Gotcha.
And so that's how I started.
David Grier is the result of regifting.
Yeah.
Buy a guitar for your brother. He doesn't want it, so hey, David, here's a
guitar.
Imagine if he
I
had bought
was
his brother a
glad to have it.
ukulele. Where would you be?
There's pictures of me playing a little plastic banjo, with tape on it because I broke it. I encourage everybody to do that to a banjo. But
Break it.
so I was into it. I mean, it's like if your dad works in the garage as a mechanic, at home, then you go in the garage and hang out with your dad and you learn the names of the tools and where you use them. And it's just a slow process, but you learn. And if I had it made, man, if I had questions, I could ask my father. He didn't have it made. His parents didn't play at all. He'd be in his room learning the new Earl Scruggs song and learn it and come downstairs and play it for his parents. And, son, that sounds like the last one you played for us. Which they're not wrong. All them banjos. Heard one, you heard them all. You heard one, you heard too many. But so Dad at least could tell, when I was playing a new song and help me slowly learn. So.
And did you just start learning? You said he showed you chords. Were you just trying to learn backup and like how the chord progressions for songs, or did you jump right into trying to find a melody?
No, I played rhythm. Oh my God, we're sitting on the tracks, folks.
It's a depot going through here.
So rhythm, playing chords, trying to get from one chord to the next chord cleanly. That takes time, and learning the progression. Does it go back to G? Does it go to D here? Those sorts of things. Very, very basic. It's just like everybody else. I would sit and play the records. I thought I was getting pretty good. Till you take the record off and play that song without the record. It's like, golly, it's horrible. Because they're doing all the work, and you think you're part of them, but no.
It's like when you sing along with an album, I'm sounding pretty good, and then you turn it off, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's eye-opening. So I think part of being a musician is you have to be very vigilant and almost hypercritical of yourself, so you recognize where the mistakes are, because a lot of people don't do that. And they think, oh, this is fine. It's, well, guess what? Maybe not.
Yeah.
So, but you can go too far and think everything you do is horrible because it isn't as perfect as that one time you did it 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And so you got to be kind to yourself too and accept, it ain't going to be 100% perfect every time, and you need to fight through that, but you need to be aware of where your mistakes are. And so it's a fine line, isn't it?
I think most musicians are, like you said, very critical of themselves.
That's how you get better.
That's how you get better. But you're right. There's this like line where you just got to be able to push through and just go, hey,
That's the best.
this is what it is.
Best I could do this time.
The line that me and Jeremy reference a lot, and Jason probably does too. I never talked to Jason, honestly, so I have no idea. But Ron Block said it a long time ago, is that is a snapshot of where you were that time at that place. That does not mean that that's going to be, especially for recordings and things of that nature, it does not have to be perfect, because that's where you were at that place and at that time. It could be later that you're not as
the
good.
next photo you take is going to be that much better, or closer to where you want to be. But I've also seen the opposite, like you were saying, where some people they're like, oh, that's good enough. I'm close enough, and I almost hit all the chords. Or if you're in a small town, you'll have a fiddle player like, I'm the best in this town. It's like, well, you need to get out of this town, because there's some really good fiddle players out there, and you shouldn't stop where you're at now.
That's like the small town football star. Yeah. It's like, he's the best quarterback in our town.
I made it to state.
Big fish in a small pond.
Yeah. I like
that idea. It's different for young players now with the internet, because it's you can see the best of the best out there and go, okay, now
They have so many more advantages than we had.
So should they be better than us?
Well, they are
better. I mean,
at younger ages.
You're right.
Like Thiele, when he came out, was just like, what is this? It's like so much. Like first there was Sam Bush that really took Mainland to like this huge next level, and then Thiele is like, whoa, where'd this go? And now there's all these kids coming up, and in their first 10, 15 years are getting to that Thiele-esque level,
amazing,
and who knows what 10 years from now is going to be.
Yeah, but they're skipping steps. They don't know how to play a solo on one note or something. Very, ultra simple. It's always deedly, which you can do too much of, and
I agree.
Your ear gets tired, which comes with age, and they'll get there. I hope.
Yeah, I think most of them will. You are right. There's this.
What was that?
It's on. It's recorded.
I think they will. There's great players out there, but you're right. They have different style and things to learn. Where we talked about this yesterday. Your biggest influence, you said Clarence White.
Clarence White, for sure.
Yeah. So Clarence was the big. I'm not going to say the beginning, but he was the second step in the evolution of flat pick guitar, I would say.
Yeah,
you kind of say.
Well, there's Bill Napier and Don Reno and George Shuffler.
Yep. Before
him, and I don't know where Doc fits in there. Maybe Doc and Clarence were coming up at the same time, perhaps. I know when Clarence first heard Doc, he was just pretty excited about it. It's like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
But Clarence also had a lot of different influences outside of bluegrass, like Django, Joe Maphis, later on James Burton on the Telecaster. Clarence was younger. Roland was the oldest. His brother Roland was the oldest in the family, and then he had sisters and another brother, Eric, and Clarence was the baby. So he had different thoughts about stuff, as you could tell from his playing. But, I mean, he had a demo of Bob Dylan singing some song, before it was ever out, is what I was told. So he ran in different circles and had different ideas. He was really cool. And, well, that Appalachian Swing record he recorded when he was a teenager that everybody just flipped over. It's amazing. And I love that. But my favorite, one of the Kentucky Colonels records with he and his brothers, was Live in Sweden. It was after his Birds stint playing electric guitar, and he's back to playing acoustic guitar, and his ideas were just more mature. They were off the chart mature for the first one when he was a teenager, but even more so on that last recording. Fascinating. It was way cool.
Well, the cool thing when you got influenced by him, were you going and slowing down, or not? I don't know if you could slow down the album, but just repeating that line over and over, or dropping it down to
trying to find what in the world he was doing. Can I give an example?
Please.
Can I show?
Please.
Like one of the Django things he'd done. Well, that was, those two things there were things that he had done. That was another thing he did from there. This is all not sounding so cool out of context, but
I get it.
those are things. Just the way he would do runs, like, all right, Johnny Cash, every Johnny Cash song, they do that. You've heard that a million times. Clarence had a different way of doing everything, and not always the same. But one of the things he did to get from G to C, which you're muting a fifth string, which it's pretty cool.
That's very cool. It's syncopated.
And then from C to D, he would, instead of, he'd go, and then the same thing from D to G, just down a string. Instead of, which sounds even simpler, but it's more syncopated and so much more cool.
Yeah.
And achievable. You don't have to be, all up and down the neck. So. He had the coolest G run. I love that. It's like, I don't know, like water over stones and just rippling, just does the same thing, but in a whole new way, which is subtle, but noticeable. And stuff like that. His singing was way cool. Just the way he approached the instrument, I really liked. And Dad was a big fan. So, I don't know. Your dad's your main influence when you're young. And his main influences was Bill Monroe, Earl Scruggs, and Clarence White. So Dad had live tapes that I heard them playing shows, various shows. So I heard a bunch of stuff. It was way cool. He had a tape that he had made of where the Colonels played like 6 or 7, 8 gospel songs, and each one out of a G position, maybe the capo up here, but he's playing a G shape. And every one of those songs had a different G run. That you would have swore to God that he got on a golden tablet, and this was the one
way.
It was so perfect. And yet the next one would be a little different G run that you'd think, man, that one fits that so well. I don't really have that, but by golly, and just stuff like that where you don't take for granted, okay, G run, whatever, It's like, no, this is your chance, man. Why are you going to give it up like that? You know? So every little nuance was important. Tony Rice got that, a big portion of that from Clarence.
Well, that's, we're talking about Clarence, and there's going to be a lot of people that don't know, that are watching this podcast for the first time. Clarence White was Tony's biggest influence.
Clarence
yours
was older
as well.
Yeah, Tony and Clarence both were huge. They're both so different. They both lived in California, and Tony's parents would take Tony to see the Country Boys. They may have been known then, same group. And Clarence might have been 16 and Tony 9 or 10, something. So Tony looked up because Clarence was already more advanced.
Sure.
And they knew each other and were friends.
I think, it's funny you talking about this and giving the demos, and I'm listening to it. And I, for a time period, I was doing some pretty heavy study on Clarence. Of course, Tony, by the time I came out as a guitar player, that was established that Tony was the hotshot guitar player. This was the guy,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that there just isn't enough stuff out there of Clarence. Clarence was, you're playing stuff and you're going, yes, I hear all that stuff. And I remember how amazing that stuff was with the Colonels, but there's only 3 or 4 albums that they cut.
And they're live. They're live
live.
records. Yeah. So he died very young. What was he, 29, 27, something?
Like that.
Very young, got hit by a drunk driver. Roland also got hit. They both were hit. and Clarence flew the furthest. But Roland, and I didn't know this, but he told me his shoulder was out of the socket all them years. And then he went to this acupuncture lady, Dr. Shing. She's amazing. She stands this tall, funny, amazing. And she put his shoulder back in. Nobody ever said nothing. He didn't
Really?
know, just his shoulder hurt. Oh, your shoulder's out. Really? Like, oh, that's great. Thank you. So they were both hit, and Clarence passed. Pretty sad day.
Yep.
But and you know what's amazing about Clarence also is that his fans are so deep into what he does. I mean, they know so much about it, and his way of just simple songs. That's why I like simple songs. Maybe listen to the Mockingbird.
Yes.
So cool. 9 Pound Hammer. I Am a Pilgrim. Nobody's played that anywhere near as cool as Clarence did ever. It's so again, nothing's taken for granted.
I think what was really cool about Clarence, and those of you who are again getting to talk about this or know about this for the first time, get out there and listen to it.
YouTube.
It was the phrasing. It was not just the notes that were chose, because they come at it from a different direction than what you expected them to do,
Right.
and
Yes.
that's always been cool. But I think that's where Tony got this idea of this phrasing where you would push and pull certain things and leave some spots open. It wasn't all 8th and 16th notes
Right.
flying at you all the time. It was the spaces in between. And Clarence was, I think, better than Tony at this by actually quite a bit, in that he would leave a giant hole.
Yeah, not
in
be
there.
afraid of the space.
Exactly. And it would be this big old monstrous hole, but it felt like it was the most important part of it. What he didn't play felt almost as important as what he did play.
So then you're on the edge of your seat wondering, when's he going to come back in? And then it comes in, it's like, whoa, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
Absolutely.
It just builds anticipation. It's phrasing. And you know what else is funny to me is that Clarence had these other influences and interests, but somehow to me it still sounded bluegrass.
yes.
Whereas Tony could take his influence, which were varied and large, Jerry Reed, Oscar Peterson, George Benson, different folks. But it sort of sounded more jazzy, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's different how one fit the mold a lot easier. I heard a recording of Larry and Tony Rice and Clarence White playing just around a kitchen table. Who knows what had gone on before that recording started? But
What are you hinting at?
Like the pizza sessions.
yeah, they probably had a pizza.
You probably had a pizza.
Probably. And Larry and Tony's rice was the same. It was insistent, like waves crashing on a beach. Here it comes, bam, bam. I'm overemphasizing, but
Love it.
it's sort of like that. And Clarence's rhythm was more like water seeking its level. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They were both right. Every one of them guys had really, really good timing, but how they felt that timing and how they expressed that timing was different. It's really cool to hear for
I bet
me.
that is. I would love to hear that.
Something that I'm thinking of is you're talking about this. And I know a lot of the people that listen to this podcast are kind of new to the instrument and starting their own journey, but it feels like you probably remember as much as I do, like when you're figuring out these licks, so that G run and that slight delay, and you're trying to figure out what he's playing, but then when you finally get it, and then you get so excited, it's like, I got it, and then you just keep doing it over and over.
Hell
The
yeah.
excitement that makes you want to pick up the instrument and learn the next lick or the next phrase, but it's that exploring it, trying to figure it out once you get it really close, and then you just keep doing it over and over and playing it with them. There's a special excitement there that
There is.
keeps you doing it.
Well, that's the only thing that kept me doing it. I mean, if I picked it up, I have no patience. Zero. I picked up a slide because I heard George Harrison and all these other people play slide. I thought, man, that'd be cool. So I bought a slide, took it home, played 3 minutes. It's like, nah, this is never going to work. Just throw it in the trash. I mean, if I don't see some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, I'm not going to fight against it. And with the guitar,
By the way, inspirational notes by David Grier, right there.
yeah, don't waste your time.
Try it for 10 seconds and then
Spend it on what you need to do. So I saw progress, like you were saying. It's like, oh, well, I figured this out. This is so cool. Dad, look at this.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, no hands.
It's so exciting.
Sort of
It
deal.
is. It's the same thing. Look, I can ride the bike.
Yeah, so those sorts of things, I kept slowly getting better or learning new things. I don't know if I was getting better, but progress was made. And I saw that. I couldn't do that yesterday. Now I can. That's cool. What am I going to learn tomorrow? I don't know. And now, not that I know everything, but I'm writing songs. I have no idea what's going to pop out tomorrow that's in there somehow, and haven't figured out a way to get it out. But it might come out tomorrow, you know? And that's what keeps me going, because it's new, it's fresh. I like my songs. I like the songs I write. They're melodies.
I like them too. And I think what you mentioned earlier, just the fact that you were noticing those subtle differences in a G run versus somebody says, oh, it's just a G run, I'll play my G run again. Like
Right.
listening for those little delays or the slightly different way he ran the G run on each one of those gospel tunes is probably what helped you to say, all right, there's all these nuances I can do. They're not all G runs.
There's other ways to do it.
Yeah.
It's not just, the same one everybody else does. Although you can use those. Those are great. They work. But there's also these other ones. I'm always looking for combinations of notes that I don't know or I haven't used before. That I know some things. Feel free to quote me. But
Bumper sticker.
I also know there's like a million other ways to do it. And because I don't read music, I can't open up a book and say, oh, I'm going to work on this. That's all hieroglyphics to me. So I just got to stumble onto it like even a blind squirrel finds an acorn now and then. So that's what I do,
It comes across and you're playing, like you did a house concert last night and Corey was there and a couple other musicians from town. And we're all just talking. It's like David's playing, he just finds a different direction to come to everything. Like it's not where you're expecting it or where everybody else would go to get that same melody. It's coming from a surprising direction. And even in the same solo, it's like you're going one way and all of a sudden it just reverses or your chord changes that are backing it up or completely unexpected. So I think it's fun to listen to.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you.
Do you find that that is probably one of the things I find? You tell me if you agree or not.
No.
Players, yeah, probably. Players, a lot of players that do study guitar, other guitar players, they tend to obviously lean towards that, right? And you being from more of a Clarence background, Clarence was taking his own liberties. He was doing something that nobody else was doing. We're talking about this,
making it fit in that same context.
Yeah, and a lot of it was because he had to, right? He has got a family that's already playing music, and there wasn't a whole lot of influences to give him.
Not at first. Roland was his main influence, I guess, being the older brother.
So he's able to kind of a much broader road, right? And I think a lot of newer players, they kind of get to zoom in on 2 or 3 great players and 4 or 5 maybe, and that's still a much tighter. There's now thousands. Now there's still that whole road out there, but they're not getting to be as much, clearing their own path in that. And I think that's what you're kind of doing is you're kind of going at it from another direction. I think a lot of my favorite guitar players, Corey is one of them. I remember Justin Carbone was also another one that didn't just play like everybody else. So they always came to a resolution totally from a different direction. Those are my favorite guitar players. When I listen to him, Corey's a great player. He thinks of it. He's not studying all the guitar players that I studied. So he's listening to all these other influences. So he kind of goes home and makes his own path. And that's so much fun to listen to because then it's still the same song. It surprises me every time they come to that end resolve. And, I think Clarence was one of them. You're one of those guys. There's a few of them out there. So I guess what I'm trying to say is listen to all kinds of stuff and try to come up with your own path because that's what really impresses all of us.
Was there a point that you can think of where it went from just trying to learn note for note what Clarence was playing to making your own way based on that foundation you had built on Clarence's?
Well, it was first Clarence and then Doc, of course, and then Tony came on the scene. And so I tried to learn what I could of him. It was funny, man. I learned like 2 or 3 of his most basic licks and thought I was Tony Rice. I learned 2 or 3 Clarence White licks. I'm as good as Clarence White. Shit, no, you're not. Who told you that? Nobody. But one of the things I like to do is play the song, a bunch. And how many different ways can you play it? Because I get bored easily. I don't want to play it the same way every time because I'm going to get tired of it. It's a long story. Ha. So when I was a kid, there was an arcade at the end of the street, and we'd bet on Pac-Man, 50 cents or $1 or something. And I play like I play, guitar. I know the song, and I knew the rules. Just try to get as much points as you can without getting eaten. That's Pac-Man. Then you go to another screen, and it's a whole different set of different paths you have to take. But anyway, that's how I played. Well, they come out with a booklet, that showed you the path and the order to do this path where you'd make the maximum amount of points and not get eaten. Well, my friends bought that book, and they'd remember the first screen, they'd remember the second one, and maybe the third one. But as you were playing, if you made a little bobble with your joystick, the rest of that path would be invalid, and it'd be 10 seconds, and they'd get eaten because they didn't know how to play the game. All they knew was to follow this path. Now, friends of mine teach guitar, and they tell their students, you learn it however you want. Put all your cool licks, everything you want in that. You do it, and you practice it 1,000,000 times. That way you're on stage, and a pretty girl walks by or something happens, you know it. You've played it 1,000,000 times, and that sounds great until you factor in that you're human, and you're going to make a mistake, not wanting to, but it happens. Nobody wants a mistake, but sometimes it happens. And when that happens, you don't know what to do. You don't know the game. It's just like that Pac-Man thing. So I like to play a song as many different ways as I'm able that I could think of, A, because I'm going to stumble onto something I might not have found before, and B, it just helps me get more comfortable with stuff around the neck that I could use on another song, or that I feel more comfortable playing the one song I'm doing. I'll take a little bit from this and a little bit from that next time and put those two. That might be a good solo. And, think about it a little bit later. But I just like to play it because I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I know the melody. I can play the melody, and that's great. But I'm going to rant now, man.
I'm like, that's great.
This is what people want to hear.
So I had my favorite licks, and I'd play them in every song, and pretty soon everything sounded alike. So I went to my father, Dad, I'm so sick and tired of playing. This is ridiculous. He goes, what's up? So, well, everything sounds alike. I'm fed up. He goes, well, you know how to make each solo different? It's like, oh man, it's like I climbed the mountain and there's this wise guy up there. No, what do you do? How do you do that to make every song different? Well, you play the melody. Each song's different. Each solo's different. There you are. It's like, well, heck, Dad, I don't want to do that. But he wasn't.
That's boring.
He wasn't saying eke out the melody. He said interpret the melody, but make it the melody so somebody can tell what it is you're playing instead of all these licks you put in there all the time, which was eye-opening. It took me a while to learn that lesson. I didn't learn it right then, of course. But I learned it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Pac-Man analogy, that's great. Just memorizing each the first few
Patterns.
levels, but once you get past level 3 and you have to actually improvise and come up with something new. I find myself doing that with solos. Like I've learned this song and I know a couple ways, but if they go 3 rounds with it, I'm all of a sudden like, what am I going to play for this third solo? I haven't worked this up yet.
Well, a good way is just to stop, let a note linger, and then you have to reset.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, where am I going to go from here? How do I get from where I'm at to where I want to be? What path do I want to take to get there? That's what I do. It's like, I'm here, I want to get there. How do I want to get there? That's my choice. Yeah. How I do that. Do I want to just go right to it, or do I want to take a roundabout way? Every day I go to the post office. Got a P.O. box. I used to get checks in the good old days.
Thanks a lot, Spotify.
Yeah, so, and I know where I'm at. I'm home, and I know where I'm going, the post office, but I don't go the same way every time. I'm gonna go this way, see if that guy's fence is still down. Go this way, see if that tree's falling down, if he took care of that, or just I know where I'm going, but how I get there is my business. Is how I see it, and it's the same picking wise.
You said something that I think a lot of musicians need to hear, which is you're human and you're gonna make mistakes. The best of the best do it.
They all do it.
There's nobody that doesn't make mistakes. I make the analogy a lot of times. It's like, master carpenter that's inside your house making this deal, he makes mistakes. You and I never see him because they've learned how to cover them up every single time and do it very well so that nobody ever notices it. I think that's what the master musicians do as well.
They've been at it a while.
They just never make it shown that it is a mistake, and you won't know the difference because they, like you said, they know the game. They know how to get themselves out of the jam without, they have an idea of what they want to play, and sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Right.
So now they just know how to get themselves out of it in the least destructive way possible.
Right. And it's also when you've been playing a Brazilian years like I have.
Did you say Brazilian
Yeah,
years? Okay.
Just play on words.
I wanted to check on that.
It's more than a million. It's a Brazilian. So
Cleanly waxed.
You're welcome.
I done forgot. Oh, it's like having an old electrician come to your house and he's doing something with a screwdriver, just a regular screwdriver. And the way he does it, he's not thinking. You don't have to think. I could use a screwdriver, but then he hands it off to this apprentice, this 20-year-old kid, and he's fumbling around with it. The difference in the technique and the skill level, just something that simple. It's the same thing. When you've been playing, forever, some of that happens, I think.
Yeah. You were mentioning earlier how many variations you love to learn, just doing every solo different. Did you do a lot of contests where that is like, it's almost a prerequisite to winning contests is you're going to play a melody, get that established in the first solo, and then 2 or 3 more solos after that, completely different from the first one, nothing the same to show, here's my skill level, I can go all these different. Did you do a lot of the contests?
I first went to a contest when I was 12 or 13. I didn't know it was a contest. I think my dad did. It was in Baltimore. I grew up in Maryland. Dad, we get there, and somewhere in there, Dad says, hey, you want to enter the guitar contest? It's like, what's that? Whoever would play a G chord the fastest or what? What's a music contest was so foreign to me. Well, you just get up and play, and whoever plays the best wins. You just get up and play some songs, I came in second. I beat adults, which was crazy to think of at that age. And I won like $15, which is a shit ton of football cards. I spent all my money on football cards, man. And it was cool. I was rich.
I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. When's it happening again, Dad? $15 when you're 12 or 13 is a lot of money. It was for me. Cards were like 10 cents or 15 cents then. Anyway, for a pack. And that crummy bubble gum that was in there. You remember that?
It would last you about 10 seconds.
So then I did that a few times, through the years. And then met Clarence. Dad had met Clarence. He knew Clarence and Roland, but I met him in Annapolis in 73. And I played his guitar, and Clarence said, you need to get him one of those guitars. And Dad said, I don't know, I got a guitar. He said, well, I'll buy it, and you could pay me back.
Wow.
Dad says, well, if you think that strongly. So I got one of those white book with the W and the headstock. So, and during their talks, while Roland and I were playing, said, hey, you need to bring him out to Winfield. There's a contest. I'm sure he'd do well. I'm judging. It'd be good. And then Clarence passed on, got hit by a drunk driver and died. But we went, and I played so horribly. It was huge. Winfield, Kansas is the National Guitar Championship. So there's a bunch of people that are good at contests that go there. And I would play a little, it would hit the stands and bounce back, And that was completely new to me. So I'd wait, and it'd stop. Then I'd play a little more, it'd hit them stands and come back. God.
I assume you did not get great scores for that.
No, I was horrible. I had been the worst one there. But went back in 76.
How did you overcome that? Like, were you so disappointed that
Oh, I was terribly, because I felt the burden of Dad took off work. He spent a bunch of money. We flew. That had to be $1 million in my thinking. You know, I'd never been on a plane before. So, excuse me. So yeah, I felt like I let everybody down, myself, but then everybody else, because I knew I played better than that anyway. You know, anything would have been better than that. So I went back in 76. I did better, didn't place, but I made it through my songs. I did as best I could, as I recall. And I went back in 80, and I came in second. So it took a while. And that's the last I've ever been in a contest. Really? I don't like old people. Well, not old people, but if you're an amateur and you're old and you practice, I'm all right with that. It's these people that just go contest to contest to contest, and they're 45 years old and been doing it for 30 years. It's like, hey, man, there's some kid sitting at home working his butt off trying to do this, and here you are, you know, an adult.
Circuit.
Get a job, you know. So, I mean, they're allowed, but it just sits weird with me.
As a kid, do you think preparing for that contest helped you become a better player? Like, you had to sit there and like, all right, here's my 3 or 5 songs, whatever it's going to be, and I'm going to perfect these songs and come up with my own. Was that a good thing would you encourage people?
It was something. It was a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did have that in mind, but you know how I play. I'm just goofing off. I know the melody. I'm going to play the melody. Then I'm going to goof off. And hopefully you can hear the melody in there is my goal. And that's how I played. It's like a running back. All right, you're supposed to go this way. Well, if that way's busy, you can turn around and go this way, right? And so that's how I play. And that's how I did it. I just tried not to make a mistake and make it through the song. And so came in second, which was good. I got money, I got a guitar, and I got a trophy. Oh,
I think you did.
Maybe I didn't get money. Do they get money?
I think it's just no. I
Just
don't.
a trophy and a guitar.
And a guitar, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I sold the guitar.
So you got money.
So
Bought more football cards.
that's right, man. So it was a goal. It was something to shoot towards, and to the detriment of my musicality. It's a whole different thing. Contests are different than playing in a group. Like, you can tell a contest player, they can't play rhythm first. They don't fit in because they're going to play what they know instead of what fits and what feels right. So that's where I was. It took a while to get out of that.
We're at this point, so what year was it again? You said 80?
80.
Okay, so 1980. At this point, are you playing in band situations too? Or is it,
No.
No?
I mean, I'd sit in. Dad would play locally in D.C. or Baltimore in between. And I'd go. 80, I was 19, so I was way old. But when I was younger, like 11, 12, 13, he'd play these bars, and I'd play the first set with the group and then fall asleep in a booth, when I was real little. But I didn't really play out till later. After that, like 81, played electric guitar in a country band in Centerville, Virginia, which is just west of Fairfax, Virginia, down 66. Did that for like 2 years, 2.5 years maybe. Then moved to Nashville in 85. I've been there ever since.
So what was that transition? You said you did a country band?
Yeah, electric guitar. I didn't play acoustic guitar at all. And I didn't really know how to practice electric guitar either. Acoustic guitar, I could play fiddle tunes or melodies to singing songs. But pardon me. Golly.
Electric guitar to acoustic
Yeah.
guitar.
I just didn't know what to do, how to practice it. So I didn't. I sort of practice on stage, which is hard to get any better than that. I mean, It's hard to get better that way
Sure.
because you don't have the guitar in your hands enough. But that's what I did. I lived in a house with 4 other musicians, a drummer, a keyboard player, and 2 horn players, sax and trumpet, and myself on guitar. It was really cool. We'd both all come home like on a Friday, Saturday night from our gigs, everybody complaining about the same thing.
Even though they were in different bands.
Different groups, genres, and different things. You wouldn't believe what the leader made us do. We had to play this song 3 times, some song that nobody, like, equivalent would be a bluegrass guy having to play Rocky Top 3 times. It's like we played Girl from Ipanema, I hate that song. I had to do it 3 times. All of us complaining about the very same thing. It was eye-opening.
Sure.
Also eye-opening for me is that time we played, it was a house gig. We played the same place 3 nights a week. So it was like a soap opera. If your eyes are open, you're on stage, well, there's Dottie. She's going to have 2 drinks. Claude's going to come in. They're going to dance a time or 2. Then they're headed to the parking lot. It was like clockwork, and this was eye-opening to me.
It's like a small
wow.
role in this play.
As the stomach turns. So it was an education.
Yeah.
In a bunch of different ways.
So what was your first bluegrass group? Or
Well-
what you would define as a bluegrass group?
The first real band I think I joined was when I moved to Nashville. I played with Doug Dillard, and I didn't even know him. I knew the name, and I saw him on Mayberry, Andy Griffith. But I was staying at Roland White's house, and he was out with Doug Dillard on some Florida tour. He comes back. You should call Doug Dillard. He's always calling around for somebody. Okay, so I called him up. I don't know where you heard that. I'm fine. I ain't looking for nobody. I'm David Grier. I'm new to town, blah, blah, blah. I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't know where you heard that. Okay. And then I'm living with Gene Wooten, a dobro player, played with Country Gazette. And he's out with Doug Dillard. He comes back. That's who you should call, Dave. He's always looking. Well, I called him once. Well, you call him again. So I called. Are you again? Yeah. Didn't I tell you? Yeah, that's what you told me. But then, here's Gene Wooten had just come back with you. He said, you're looking for somebody. Yeah, well, I don't know. I said, well, I'm playing the Station Inn. Do you know where that is? That's how green I am. He'd been there for years. Of course he knows where it is. Well, I'm like some little kid. It's like, hey, yeah, I think I could find it. So I was playing with Roland at the Station Inn. He shows up. And there's this old man sitting by the bar on a stool. And I'm watching him because it looks like he's going to fall over. I was like, wow, who's this old timer? Prospector. So
Nashville.
the set ends, go back to the green room, put my guitar down, just walk around, Pretty soon there's a ruckus in the back room, the green room. I go back there, and there's that old man playing a banjo and ripping the strings off of it so hard. It's like, good Lord. And I'm watching it, and Alan O'Brien leans over in my ear and says, do you know who that is? I said, no, I don't know. I have no idea. He goes, that's Doug Dillard. It's like, in my mind, it's like, what have I gotten myself? And then he looks right at me. He says, you still want to pick? He's like, yeah, absolutely. I need a job. Whatever will keep me here in town. So I did that for a few years, recorded 2 records with him. And then
Is that the officially the Doug Dillard Band? So
Ginger Boatwright and Roger Rasnick on bass, and me and Douglas.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I saw that band. I don't know if
Billy Constable used to play with them too.
yeah.
It may
I'm
have
trying to
been-
remember if it was you or not. It was early out in Colorado. We're from Colorado. Came out and
We did play in
Billy.
Colorado. one-
at the Rocky Mountain Bluegrass Festival. I think I remember seeing the Doug Dillard Band there, and I was pretty young at the time, so
Me too.
I,
We all were.
we all were. That's pretty awesome. So worked with the Doug Dillard Band. Start building your own reputation. When did you decide you're going to go start doing solo stuff?
When my bank account got to a certain level.
Because to me, that's a whole nother deal. I'll be honest. I don't think I could.
I don't think any of us could
You
sit-
could do a solo anything.
Like the house concert you did last night. I couldn't just sit there and keep a room keep a room's attention and put on a show just solo.
See, now I've heard other people say that, and it's the weirdest thing for me to think about, because how do you practice at home? Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Pretty sure. Most of the time, anyway.
But the audience doesn't like me to stop and go,
Yeah. I know you got to keep that to a minimum. But I play like I do at home there, and I don't get nervous. Some people get really nervous. Oh, it's so quiet. I'm so nervous. So that's what you want. You want them to hear you. No, I want them to be shooting, pulling darts and pinball where they don't hear me. It's like, no.
I'll agree with you there.
And I bring my guitar, so it's mine. I'm comfortable with it. And my comfort is there. I sit down like I do at home. So I try to do everything that's comfortable and bring that to the gig instead of a brand new set of things I got to do, because it's a gig, it's a performance. It's like, that's a lot of weight. I'm just going to sit here and pick, and these folks are going to enjoy it, and then I'll get paid and leave. And so that's how I do it. I try to keep everything low stress, just show up, play a G chord, do the best I can, and I play like I play at home. Because, I went through this the other day. If you just play single strings, after a while, no matter how well you do that, eventually it starts to sound empty. To my ear, it did. And so I look for ways to make it sound more full, because it's just me. There's no bass players, no backbeat, there's nothing. So I have to do whatever I can to make it sound more full. Now, I can play single strings, and that's cool. That'd be just another way. But maybe next time, double stops or a drone note or something. So if I'm bored, I think they might be bored, which maybe isn't even accurate, because I've heard it a million times, and some of these people, it's their first time. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's an accurate statement, but I feel that way. I don't want to get bored. I'm sure that would show. And so play some slow songs. People bring their girlfriends or wives, If they're yawning or bored, they're not going to come back, so I done cut my money in half, So you got to play something everyone will like. It's not just fiddle tunes, deedle, 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 deedle for 2 hours. Good Lord, I couldn't even sit through that. So you vary it. Maybe there's a blues song or something that leans that way, or this is a ballad, or this is what have you. Then a fiddle tune where you're comfortable. Then something else, a waltz or what have you, and you vary it. So it's not a night of the same thing, although it's a night of the same thing. It's just solo guitar. But your repertoire, and maybe you have arrangements to songs that they know but maybe haven't heard that way. And that's kind of cool. I like that, because they know the song, they can follow it, and they can tell where you're doing something different to it. Oh, I never thought of that, they might think. Hopefully.
Yeah.
That was nice. I like that. And so, plus it makes me sound different than the next guy, because their arrangement's going to be different than mine, I would hope.
That brings up something we were talking about while we were waiting on John, who showed up 15 minutes late for this podcast.
He was very late, wasn't he?
I think some
very,
of the...
very late.
You guys,
very
it
late.
takes a lot for me to get out of my bed.
John had to work up the courage to sit in front of David.
I came all the way from Nashville and was here on time.
John was sitting in the parking lot getting his Dewey, getting himself all hyped up to go talk to David.
That's right, sniffing that airplane glue. That's why your sinuses are stopped up.
Exactly what it was.
So I was asking David, and I think a lot of the really good flatpickers out there would be interested to know, you do such cool voicings and chord stuff behind the melody. And I was asking, when you're doing that, are you thinking, from a music theory, all right, this is going to be a diminished sus9 so-and-so chord that, and you're thinking through it technically, or you're just training your ear, and you said most of the chords you're not even really worried about, all right, if I add this.
I don't know the names of. I know one way to use them, maybe two if I'm really lucky, but mostly it's just one. And I'll get it. Look, I'm very busy. So Yeah, I don't know the names of the chords. I know it's around a C chord. It's a C something.
And then you just try moving a finger one way or another. It's like, oh, that sounds cool. And so you're using a lot of ear to come up with these.
Yeah.
And
If
not
you listen to different
like Bill
stuff.
Keith, he was legendary for just knowing theory, and he would talk to me, and my eyes would gloss over. And
Yeah, me
I was
too.
like, I wish I understood what you're saying right now because it sounds like it'd be so valuable. But it sounds like you're actually just doing the same thing, but just using your ear to figure out what sounds good together.
Well, there's notes that lead from one chord to another, just really basic stuff. Like, right? That just is. I don't know if that's a good, but just leading notes. That's a poor representation. Anyway,
I hear what you're saying.
there's notes that get you from one chord to the other, and there's a lot of those. And the more you know jazz, the more opportunities you have. And I don't know jazz, but you don't need to know it to know that, oh, I can walk from this one to this one chord to another, just chromatically, and so.
Do you find that you this is what I find, and I'd love to see what you do. When you do that, you're hearing something in your head.
Yeah.
And then you're like, is it kind of like a hunt and peck? Like, wait, nope, that's not what I'm hearing in my head. Let me try this version of it. Obviously, it's probably got more refined and quicker the more you do it
all
now.
my guesses now are educated guesses, I'd like to hope. But yeah, there's hunt and peck. You have an idea, you try to find it. That's the coolest thing, is having an idea. That's the hardest part. If you don't have an idea, you're just going to do what everybody else done, and then you're going to sound like everybody else. Your ideas are unique. And so part of the fun is, well, now I got a goal to shoot for today or this week or whatever it takes to get this idea. Like, I think pedal steels are liquid. They sound so liquid. And guitar sometimes can be deedle, 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 a lot of pick noise and a lot of 8th, 16 notes or whatever, just a steady stream. It's like, good Lord.
Machine gun style.
Yeah, give me a break. So my goal was to learn something, because I could do it on a Telecaster because the strings are very light and easy to bend.
And infinite sustain.
Yeah, and volume, just turn knob. But this is a whole different thing. But I figured out. And then.
I love this.
Just different stuff like that.
Well, that's very Clarence Whitish, right? Because that by the time he started doing all the Telecaster stuff that he was doing, it was basically impersonating steel guitar
some
on a guitar, right?
Yeah, it's just a different.
Except you're doing obviously different licks. I didn't mean to say that that's
No.
just like Clarence, but that was that idea of, wait, I can find this same idea and push it to a guitar.
It's the fun of it. Or taking a mandolin lick. You learn a Bill Monroe lick. Who says you can't? Here's a Bill
Bill
Monroe
Monroe
lick.
said you can't. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's
By
what he
God,
said.
that ain't no part of nothing. It isn't. That's all G. Or or there's an Earl Scruggs lick.
Yeah.
Which everybody knows
Yeah,
that
on
lick.
banjo. Yeah.
So I changed it. Check this out. It gets you from a G to a C, right? G, 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 G. G7 to the C. So kind of goes to the F, but it gets you to the C where you want to end up. So,
Love it.
and then there's horns and whatever else,
And
There's licks to be had.
what are you doing? Like yesterday, you did Gold Rush. Are you you did your own version of that that strays so far from what
Yeah.
we're used to? Are you kind of keeping that melody in your head, like the way it was done originally, but saying, how can I keep
It's
honor
what they
that melody.
call
but-
it reharmonization, where the chords backing the melody are a little different. Well, are different than the way they normally go.
And you just sit there and experiment with that on your practice and
Just
say,
sitting around the house goofing off.
yeah.
It's like I'm tired of playing this. There's got to be another way. You know, and I'm not expecting it to be good, but I'm just looking for another way.
Yeah.
Because then if I stumble across something that I think's neat, maybe I'll be able to use that in another song somewhere, you know, and then I got more tools in my bag, sort of deal.
You gave an example yesterday, and were you hear this when he was talking about Red Haired Boy and adding the whole breathing sections into that? Were you there for that? Yeah. You should do that again, because I thought that was really cool, where you take something that everybody knows, and the idea was just to put a whole nother breath in there, and it changed that whole feeling of what that song was supposed to be.
Right. It's 7/8. Ends up being in 7/8 time, which I didn't even know that. But so
Perfect. I love that, by the way.
Let's see. Here's how it normally goes. That much of it. So I ended up taking a nap for a little bit in the middle of it. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And so you fill up where I was counting with other notes, of course, ends up being in 7. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right? You hear that? So 1, 2, I can't. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, so then you fill in those spaces with other stuff. And often that other stuff is right, you just playing the chord. So
It's a whole fun way
it's
to
not
kinda,
a whole lot of this.
No.
Which it doesn't have to be. I mean, the object is to make music, not the object isn't necessarily to play move your fingers.
I think the object is whoever has the most notes at the end wins. That's really
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that think that.
And yesterday you gave some really good advice for people that have trouble counting, like the Branson way of counting.
7/8
7/8
sounds daunting, right? We know 2, 4, 3, 4, fo. 7/8's weird unless you count it like they do in Branson. I'll show you. It's a piece of cake.
I'm ready for this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We can all play 7/8 time. There you go,
No
folks.
big deal.
No big
I'll
deal.
see what the big deal is. Nothing to it.
I love that. That's my favorite. I'm going to use that forevermore. That is the
Can't
greatest.
steal David's.
That is
material,
the greatest line ever. I love that
I got
he
a kick out
decided
of
to
that.
make that Branson.
They,
by the
they
way.
had to bring it local. Whatever
gotta
town he
bring it
goes
local.
to, he finds the local town. No, that was a real cool example of taking a melody that in Bluegrass, at least in jam sessions, everyone's heard that, played it a million times. And even
times.
both Gold Rush and Red Haired Boy, Tony and Sam Bush, they would do like iconic solos to it, but then it all sounds the same. Even the guitar solo almost sounds like the mandolin solo because it's just that melody is so ingrained. But you put enough variation on it just by adding that extra. You couldn't play that in jam because that would throw everybody off.
No, it would.
But it was your interpretation of that song and kind of rebranding it.
And it wasn't like I sat there with a pad of paper. What would be cool? Let's see if I go to this, the hypotenuse of the 5 chord. Yeah, I'll put that in there, and all that. Yeah, I don't know any of that. I was just sitting there watching
news for Christmas.
watching
another good one,
TV, and
It's a hippopotamus, Jason.
I end up just giving it a space. And
Anonymous.
it's like, well, this is cool. I wonder if I could make this into a thing.
I dig it.
You did.
Yeah, this is all to me so much fun to watch. You guys are seeing it. What makes great artists is this idea of being able to kind of go outside and see their thought process of this. Because I've been enthralled since we discussed this at the beginning. I'm a huge David Grier fan, have been for a very long time. I made the connections with you and Clarence, but I didn't to the point of what I see right now after talking to you, and then your other influences and the players that you've been playing with and watching it, and then seeing this whole style of when I'm playing, this is how I do it. I just kind of sit around and play with it, and I look for other routes to the end, goal here.
Yeah, how
and
can I get from here to there in a different way?
in a different way. I love that idea. I think it's going to take me going home and next time I pull out my guitar, going, all right, let's think of this David Grier and not to say to play like David, but the same idea of just being able to go, all right, there's got to be some other way, and that opens up paths in your mind that you never
because you want to do it your way. You wouldn't think of. So I would sit. How would Norman play this? How would Dan Crary play this? Maybe I had a little more or a lot hammer-ons and pull-offs. How would Tony play this? How might Clarence play this? Having never heard any of them play this particular tune I'm doing, just in their style, whatever I think. Of course, my version of it probably, most likely, 100% didn't sound like they would.
Sure.
But in my mind, I was approximating. Mm-hmm. And that got me out of doing it the same way I always did. How would some singer-songwriter guy, how would some hippie guy that doesn't know but 3 licks play this? How would, this guy play it? How would some jazz guy play it? And me not knowing jazz from apple butter, but, just put your finger somewhere else sort of deal. And then you end up with a version. And chances are every one of them versions is going to be horrible. But it gets you out of the same way of playing. And you may stumble across something that sounds cool. And then you got to remember that. Well, that was neat. I've done that one time. I'd like to use that again. And then you build a repertoire. Now, let me tell you how my friend practiced. This is genius. I wish I could do it, but I don't. I'm lazy as hell. But he'll take one thing, diminished scales, let's say, work on that for a month. He'll start on the 2nd note, start on the 3rd note, and he'll figure it all out. Everything there is, like a childlike curiosity, everything about diminished scales. While he's playing just normal tunes sitting around the house, he'll incorporate that. That's his main thought for that month. End of the month, he's got diminished scales all figured out. At his whim, whenever he wants it. Next month, tremolo. You ought to see his hand just looks like no effort. Different speeds, tempos. He can do. I'll get it. It's going to do it again.
He knows it.
So then he has tremolo all figured out. 2 strings, 3 strings, 6. He can do whatever because he spent that month with that in mind as he's playing and goofing off. Next month, augmented scales or what have you. Anything, just a solo on 2 strings. He'll work on that for a month. And end of the year, what's that? 12 things that he's got in his bag he could use whenever he wants. I look at it like flashcards. Now, we've all studied multiplication in school, hopefully. This is Missouri.
It is.
Take my shoes off.
We're close to Arkansas.
So, if I asked you what's 3 times 5 is, you don't have to think it's 15. And it's the
15.
same.
I'm still working on it.
So when he's playing and he wants to do an augmented run, you don't have to think about it. He just does it because it's the same.
Yeah.
He studied it. Now he has it. Just like we know some things with math. So, and it's logical. It makes perfect sense to me. And you'd think because I think that's so great, I would do that. And I haven't. I hate that. It seems like a really good way to go, don't it?
One of your
Makes sense to me.
things that basically there's different ways of practicing, and what you were saying almost reminds me of a conversation we had with Jens Kruger, where he's talking about the same thing you mentioned yesterday at the concert. You know, a lot of us players, we even though we know a lot of songs, we always when we pick up our instrument go to those one or two like there are go-to songs or our go-to licks, and eventually you kind of broke away from that. Just do you ever just pick up the guitar and say, I don't think of any song, just play it and see what comes out of it?
Oh, yeah, just noodle around sometimes, but we've all seen people that do that can't play, you know, or these jam guys. Dude, I'm jamming. No, you're not. You know 3 licks, and you can't
Stringing them
play
together.
one melody. Don't tell me you're jamming. You're maxed out right now. You're not jamming. So it always frightens me. I don't want to do that because I don't.
Well, when you're writing a song, though, is it more just kind of noodling and then
No, well, no. When I'm writing a song, before I'm writing a song, I'm just playing chords that may not go together. That's the fun part to me and then finding a melody that makes these chords that seemingly don't go together work. That your ear you can follow it. It's like, that's a weird chord, but I was able to hum it. It gets right to it. So that's part of the fun for me is putting stuff together that may not seem like it works, but coming up with a melody that makes it work in a way that's not too mathematical or jazz. So I don't want to have to sit here and explain it. You know, oh, well, that's the flat third up against the fifth of this chord, and then over here, you know.
and that's how come.
Yeah, I don't know. That's no good.
That's funny because you said that, and you shared some of your new stuff that's getting ready to come out with us yesterday, and that was the thing that I was most blown away with. These progressions are not expected. The chord
They sound
progressions
like they shouldn't work.
They sound like they shouldn't, but then you're singing the melody over top of them, and it's like, wait, this does work. It's very, very strange. They would take me on this journey of chord structures that's like, that's not what I expected to hear, not at all. But yet somehow it works. And
Yeah.
that's pretty fun.
I like it. I find it, you know, all the GCD songs, or not all, but there's a ton of those already.
Sure.
I don't think the world needs me to put one of those together.
It's called 3 Chords in the Tree.
Yeah. As opposed to old time music, which is 2 chords in a tooth.
We just lost our old timey
You
audience.
set him up there perfect.
We
for that,
set
Joe.
him
Good
up
job.
so well. That was beautiful.
But yeah, I mean, everybody hears their own melodies in their head. And
Some of us can't get rid of them.
Some call them melodies, some call them voices.
Sometimes we have to get medication for that.
I like it. I really like it. Then it's trying to get them to come out. I've written half a song and not been able to finish. In fact, there's a song on my first record called Wheeling. It's probably the first song on there. And I wrote it in Wheeling, West Virginia, and at the Wheeling Jamboree. And first part's cool, unique. I thought for me it was unique. I'd come up with second parts that didn't fit. I could have used those and said, I'm done. But it didn't fit. And I've heard songs where the first part was great, and what I thought the second part they just throw together to be done because they had a cool first part.
Mm-hmm.
But it ruined the overall thing because half of the song is just ordinary. So I had a couple different B parts to this first part that didn't work. I didn't like. I was watching TV. I was playing my guitar. That's my natural habitat. Talking to a roommate, and the phone rang. It was for me. Got the phone wedged up by my ear, and then it popped out on its own. It'd been in there, but I couldn't access. You got to get your brain out of the way. Your brain only knows so much. That sounds weird. You think your brain would know more, but
You wish sometimes.
yeah. But it was in there and had to come out, and the brain was stopping it from coming, I guess. But it popped out. So, oh, gotta go. And, when I write a new tune, I don't record it. I just play it over and over because it's new. It's like when you get a new girlfriend. It's like, well, what happens if you put your finger here?
Cut it,
know,
cut it,
so-
cut it, cut it, cut it.
Cut that.
Point taken.
Well, you want to be with them all the time. and I'm burning it into memory. Now, here's the thing I don't know is in my playing it over and over to etch it into my mind, memory, am I changing it to be more like whatever bullcrap I do? Does it lose a little bit of its uniqueness? Or am I streamlining it and making it better and less little, not so rough and better? And I wonder that, but not enough to record it and actually see.
Not compare it.
Yeah, so I'm happy with whatever happens, mostly. Yeah,
Well, I think you got a good track record with it, so I'd probably stick with what you're doing.
I like it.
So what's future for David Grier? What now are you
according to
looking at
prophecy,
doing?
I'm supposed to hit the lottery next week.
Is that true?
I think it's written down somewhere.
Can I buy in with you?
I'll give you $1.
No, I mean, do you find that you're enjoying? I know you're playing with Peter Rowan. You're playing with various different acts and
Doing solo
doing
stuff.
solo stuff. Is that where you find yourself to continue to keep growing? Are you opening up new ways of or music that you're listening to these days that are kind of opening up new things for you?
No, I listen to dead guys. I listen to Wes Montgomery, Flatt and Scruggs, Bill Monroe, Django Sum, Jeff Beck. The later Jeff Beck stuff's amazing. Live at Ronnie Scott's at DVD. You can get it on YouTube. Watch it for free. Amazing. Jeff Beck, man, steady, learning, improving, which is hard to believe because he's amazing, but he kept improving. So good on a Strat and a whammy bar and played with his fingers because he had a knob for volume. It was great. Stuff like that. Adrian Blue, who also plays a Strat, played with King Crimson. Amazing. Stuff like that.
That's what's got you inspired these
Well,
days.
it's just cool to see people still going. Clapton's been the same for decades. It's still good, but it's predictable, sort of.
Sure.
Whereas Jeff Beck was just steady rising the whole time. That is amazing. There's not a lot of people you could say that about. You can say, oh, this guy's good. He's really good. He's great, but it's a flavor you already know. And Jeff Beck had his own flavor, but man, in that,
Keep improving.
pretty cool. I don't know if there's anything new for me. I always wanted to be what I wanted sitting in my room playing by myself or playing to a record was to have a record out of my own. It's like, oh man, can't wait. Have my own pool and rich and famous. And I had my record come out and it did all right. People liked it. It got really good reviews. And I found out that rich and famous don't necessarily go hand in hand. I mean, I'm not living under a bridge.
Yes.
But I don't have a guitar-shaped pool neither.
So
So
I hear you, my friend.
it's all right. I'm not starving. I got a roof. All's well. I love playing house concerts. There's no sound man to get in between me and the sound of my guitar. People are generally kind. They feed you. You got a place to stay. And you leave with a pocket full of money, hopefully. I mean, not as much if I was playing an arena, which that has never happened. So I don't know.
I don't even know what that feels
If
like.
I waited for that, I'd be dead by now. But so I'm happy.
Good.
I'm happy. I'm making a living playing a G chord. There's a lot of people that wish they could do that.
Yeah.
I know that.
I think something I would say as a compliment to you is not only are you exciting the average listener, but the musicians that can really understand what it is you're doing. It's so exciting to listen to it. Like it gets us amped. And yesterday after you left, there was a bunch
Go
of
home and
musicians.
play.
They're like, I either want to go home and practice a lot or just put the guitar away, because it's that kind of inspiring playing that it's not just pleasing the people that are just kind of casual listeners and don't play themselves, but the musicians that really get what you're doing. I think it's super exciting. So
I've seen Bela Fleck play one time, and when I see Jack Pearson play, Jack's the best guitar player in town. He's the one that does that thing for a month.
Yeah.
And then another thing for a month. The best guitar player in Nashville. Everybody, you'll talk to a bunch of people, and everybody has their, well, this guy's good, and they are. but they're not Jack Pearson good. They all have like the first 3 books, not realizing there's a 26 set,
They're on the first 3 levels of Pac-Man.
encyclopedia, and they're only on these. And they do those well, but there's all this. They haven't a clue. Jack's so good.
You said the same with Bela?
Yeah, it was like going to church. When I left there, which I don't go to church. That's why it was just like it. But the feeling, it's like, oh man, I feel like almost cleansed or everything's gone now that I saw this. And it lasts for a little bit, It's such a cool feeling. I don't get that feeling. It needs to be really, or I need to be able to connect with it some way. And that one night with Bela and every night with Jack Pearson is that way. It's just like, man, I couldn't ask for anything more. There's nothing else I could ask for. I went to the station in once, a million times. So this one particular night, Stuart Duncan was playing with the Nashville Bluegrass Band. And he kicked off his country song, which was a basic country song. You didn't even need to know it. You could play it. I don't know what song it was, but you get the idea. And he kicked it off on the fiddle, and every little nuance was exactly what you would want. And I left. It's like, well, it ain't going to get no better than that. I got everything I wanted right there. It was so good. It's like, wow, man. He's connected to something that's great.
That's cool, but I could say you're inspiring people the same way. So
Yeah. I think that's the coolest thing. If aspiring musicians need to pay attention to expiring, is that this is all about the nuances, the little things. It's not about, again, we made the joke. It's not how many you can, you don't win by having the most notes or even the coolest notes. It's the nuances of them. Like you just said, that was a simple solo, but all the details within it were there. And I think that's where we all kind of get our inspiration to watch. I've seen, I always reference a lot. I'm a huge fan as well of Ron Block and some of the solos that he comes up with, which are, some of them are 10, 12 notes, the entire solo, but they're the right ones played in the right flavor with the right space. And those things are things that just kind of get you inspired beyond, man, he played things that I've never heard before. That's great.
The other thing is you got to have a varied listening, or else let's say you play like a cross between Doc Watson and Norman Blake. Them's your guys. You love them and you want to sound like them. That's
fantastic.
That's perfect, isn't it? But let's say that's that. It's kind of like me going to somebody's house and they're starting to cook and they got olive oil and onions and celery. I'm going to walk in there and smell that. It's like, oh, onions and celery. Well, yeah, it smells great. Same with them. It's like, oh, Doc Lick, Norman, Doc, Norman, Doc, Norman, Doc, Norman. I might be able to pick it out. But if you've got a varied thing that you're pulling from, well, here's this Ry Cooder lick, here's this Dwayne Allman, here's this Hendrix thing, then there's Tony, here's a Clarence thing, then that's Bill Monroe. And then, oh, he did that Jesse McReynolds thing right in there. That's cool. And chances are people aren't going to be able to pick apart your solo. And well, I just put this together from all the things I like. I think it's cool and it fit and blah, blah, blah. It's a matter of taste, how you put them together and if they work or not. But, it's just like, again, a soup. If you got that base, but then you got this other thing, well, now it's a stew or it's a chili or it's a soup or whatever. That's a good place to start, but then it becomes something totally different. And you end up, hopefully, having your own voice. Because at first you learn from this guy and that guy and this guy. It's like, okay, 4 bars of this, now 2 bars of this, 2 bars of that. And it's all you clean cut. But eventually those cuts will vary. And you'll have to come up with something on your own to make this one work. And so then where's that line cut? It's not so easily pointed out as to what's happening. And I think that that helps with having your own voice. I love people that have their own voice. Roland White on mandolin, Sam Bush is David Grisman. They all different, Vassar Clements played fiddle like no one else. Mm-hmm. Amazing. All these people, as soon as you hear them, if you're familiar with them, oh, golly, that's Vassar. I know that slide anywhere. That's so cool. And I always wanted that. And people ask how to do it. And I'm not quite sure, but I think maybe if you cull from all you hear, just the parts you like, don't play something you don't like. Why would you do that? And then you put it all together, stir it up, and it comes out. Because they can't tell where you got all those licks. Oh, man, you got your own style starting there, and it makes you feel good.
Yep.
And you keep doing that, and eventually it does become your style. You don't steal from everybody. It ain't stealing. Everybody copies people. That's normal. Don't be afraid to copy people, folks. It's like if you're growing up and you see somebody do a tumble saw. It's like, oh, I want to do that. And so you do it, or somebody whistles down the street and you don't know how to whistle. Oh, man, I need to know how to do that. And so you see people do stuff and you want to do it. Same with some of these licks you might hear someone play. So don't be afraid to learn what they do. It's learning, all learning. It's all learning. Learning's good. Feel free to quote me.
Another bumper sticker. David, we do so much appreciate you coming to the shop and spending the time with us just to talk and visit and
Hey,
learn.
did you have a question today?
No.
We're waiting for the bass.
Taking it in. I'm gonna play
He's saving
18th notes on
He's
the
trying
bass.
to think of 5 times 4 over here.
I'm still working on my math. Thanks. I'm gonna stay out of the way. You guys are all flat pickers, and I'm gonna just absorb it. And
Jason's waiting to get somebody that just does the
right.
1/3 beat.
High note, low note, high note, low note.
low note. That's right. For
No,
an hour.
it has
Can we
been
get
so
Shats in
much.
here?
It has been so much fun having David in here because it's inspired me. It has got me to think of music in another way again, which is wild because I think we all go through those phases where you feel like you're a little bit burned out of hearing the same thing.
Or you hit a plateau and you hadn't learned nothing in 3 months. You wonder if that's all the better you get. Man, let me show you this one thing my dad showed
You're
me.
not allowed. We're out of time.
Nah, we got time. He showed me this, which is harmony, right, with each other. Until then, it was all just single notes. It's like, well, this is the coolest thing. So then can you do it in another key? Yes. You can keep going. You can do, so that was a whole week of just messing with that simple lick that was so cool. It's like, wow, you could play in harmony. And I had heard that like yodel lick, but I never thought about it. But
Just
you
take
never
those
know
little
where
things.
how something's going to hit.
Especially, you should
Something
start
that's
taking
simple.
on some of the alpine yodeling. Put some of that into your guitar playing. I mean, everybody needs some of that.
Well, yeah.
Can you throat sing on the guitar?
Can I do what?
Throat singing?
Can you do it?
No.
Siberian throat
cool.
singing.
Yeah.
All right, this is why we should have ended the
we should
podcast
have
5
ended
minutes
the
ago.
podcast.
And then I wrote,
No, it's going to be great to see you keep doing new stuff. I'm looking forward to this new album that you got coming out because I think that's going to help other people to understand some more of the thought process of David Grier because that is actually really, really cool. And this awesome to be around musicians that take things in a different direction and make you understand, wait, what I'm doing is only a small part of this entire world of music. That's
what
so cool.
all of us
Breaking
are
the
doing
rule
is
books.
only a small part. I mean, you can't do everything. Nobody can do everything. That's the cool thing about playing an instrument. There's so many different approaches. You know, and I know they're out there. I just don't know what they are. So that's what I'm hunting for.
Discover them.
I always quote I like to say a lot is if you ever are around somebody that tells you that they've mastered the guitar, mandolin, bass,
Oh, they're
whatever it
full
is,
of crap.
those are the people that you don't want to play with anymore.
Or here. You just put it away. I believe you. Just don't show me.
It's absolutely true. But it is true. David Grier is a master. You guys all got to hear it. I'm going to say it. He's not going to say it, but I believe he is. This has been super awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us for the Acoustic Shop Knows People. We know David Grier, everybody.
Now you
Don't
do
ever
too.
change.
Education's good.
That's right. Feel free to quote me.
Well, that was incredible.
Yeah.
Inspirational.
Do you think we bored anybody that doesn't play guitar?
I like the conversations we have where we forget that there's people listening and it's just us trying to ask the questions that we want to know the answers to.
We have no interest in trying to please the
Anybody
audience.
else going to
It's
find this
just-
interesting? I don't care. I want to know.
I got questions, Mr. Greer, and I don't care if we got cameras and mic set up or not. I'm going to get my
so I can
questions
review the
answered.
answers to the questions that I had.
Little does he know this is never going to be released. This is just for us. It's for our own egos. Ha! You have to sit and hang out with us for an hour.
That's really the whole purpose of the Acoustic Shop Knows People, is just to force people to make us feel better that we know them.
Yeah.
That's really it.
And like we have some sort of association with people that are good. Anyway,
But
no,
in
that
all
was
honesty,
incredible.
I think that's stuff for people that are just starting out or seasoned musicians. Great advice in there for the approach to creating your own music, learning more than just your 2 or 3 players that you idealize, and then expanding. And we've talked about it before. It's almost like a vocabulary. The more different influences you can get, the wider your vocabulary, the more you can kind of create your own sentences and your own style of writing. So I bet some of the early writers read other very good authors and then kind of steal some of their ideas and the way they approach descriptive text.
Yeah. I think this is something that I hear this a lot, from aspiring musicians that say, hey, I listened to this guy. He said, just kind of get out there and do it and, try the, and they're like, yeah, right. That's what's going on. And I like how it got broke down a little bit further into, it's not just, just throw stuff at a wall and see what happens, but with these influences and how you weave that stuff in there. And it gave a little bit more of a, how do you just kind of make something happen out of nothing? That's very interesting.
Advice for everyone,
Yeah,
including ourselves.
especially myself. I'm going to look at some of my stuff a little bit different when I play my guitar for fun, which never happens anymore.
And Jason, you had some of the best questions that interview. I think you got to the point.
Well, I mean, I'm so beyond you guys.
He knew
Metaphorically,
the answers to all of them.
metaphysically.
He's just
you
sitting there
guys-
picking at his shoe the whole time.
This has no bearing on how meta that my brain is, and
You're just thinking
my
low, high,
musicality.
low, high.
Yeah, seriously. Well, that's the essence of it, right?
Sometimes it's
That's the
high,
essence.
low, high, low. Sometimes it's low.
Play the
high,
melody.
low,
Sometimes you
high.
play the same note twice just to trick people up. All right. Thank you guys for listening to
On the
another
bass player, that's
episode
great.
of the Acoustic Shop Knows People.
You guys can
Hurt Jason's feelings.
Yo.
remember what we were talking about at the beginning of this episode, Jeremy?
No,
How,
what were we talking about?
He likes hanging out with me.
My problem. I have a problem in life, and it's you. How do I solve this problem when you
Like
won't go
Maria?
away?
I was gonna do it, but how do you solve a problem like Jeremy?
This is an intervention for my life, and you being
I'm not healthy
you
for
being
you.
in my life is not healthy for
I'm an
me.
unhealthy habit that you have.
That's not a habit.
All right.
More
Jason,
like a plague.
They have online counselors you can call. This podcast is
You
not
know what
one
they
of
tell
them.
me? Get rid of the problem in your life. I just can't figure out how to get rid of you.
Can we end this podcast, please?
No. I really want to
Ladies and
get to the
gentlemen,
bottom of this.
I'm going to exit this. If you would like to continue to listen to Jason rant, please
You know
stay
what?
tuned. Otherwise, please like, rate,
You know there's
and
other
subscribe.
problems in my life too,
Share
right?
this with other people.
There's another one sitting next to you.
Once you deal with the first one, we'll see you in the next
I've
episode.
wrapped my entire life
Jason,
around
carry
you
on.
two.
So sorry.
Self-loathing.
Okay, we're done already, Jay.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's called self-harm.
Keep talking, Jay.
It's called self-harm, guys.
Keep talking.
Don't walk away from me.
Take me away.
The Acoustic Shop Knows People, handmade by Trent Pruitt, Hinkley Hinkleston, and Jason Chapman for the Acoustic Shop.
Theme song written and performed